mention the word dieting and it immediately sends people in all sorts of different directions. Because there's always going to be a never-ending debate about which diet is best for weight loss. It's almost become a religion. That's why people get so dogmatic about it, and it just creates mass confusion. And by far the most popular one of them all, and it's still considered conventional wisdom by a lot of experts, is just eat less and move more, or it's more commonly known as calories in versus calories out. But did you know that this calorie counting method has a 99% failure rate? And if you've tried and failed at losing weight through dieting more times than you can count, you already know this to be true. The problem is the weight loss industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. There's a lot of money to be made by companies selling you magic weight loss pills, detox slimming teas, freezing your fat away, and I don't even know how that works, ultra-restrictive meal plans, workout supplements, and whatever else is trending right now. The funny thing is, since the conception of this eat less and move more concept back in the 80s was also the start of the obesity epidemic we're facing today. There are more gyms per capita in the US, for example, than anywhere else on the planet, yet 2 out of 3 American adult is either in the overweight or obese category. It doesn't make sense. It's clearly not just eat less through dieting and moving more through exercise. So in this video, we're gonna go the other way. I'm gonna show you how to lose weight without dieting. No shortcuts or gimmicks, no magic weight loss pills, just proven principles that actually work. These are also the exact same tips that I give to all my students, and they've all gone to see some amazing results. So you know it works. Before we get started, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell to get notified every time I post a new video every week. Number 1, and this will yield immediate results, stop eating like an ass. Stop eating highly processed fake foods. And when I say fake foods, these are foods that you can usually find at the center aisles of grocery stores. They usually come in a box or some sort of packaging with a nutritional label sticker on it with an endless list of ingredients that you and I can't even pronounce. Instead, I want you to focus on real food. Foods that nourish your body. This is why I always say that your diet should always revolve around plants and animals, meat and vegetables. Stick to the basics. I want you to eat single ingredient, mostly unprocessed, nutrient-dense foods. Whole foods. I always love using this example, but those are the ingredients of chicken nuggets. If you pan fry or roast a piece of chicken thigh, for example, there's only one ingredient. Which one do you think is healthier? The same concept applies with plant-based meat substitutes. Beyond Meat, for example, has something like 18 ingredients, and it's been processed to the nth degree to make it look and bleed like meat. That sounds like a great scientific achievement, but a scary thought at the same time. While a burger patty only has one ingredient: beef. Some people think that I hate carbs, but that's not entirely accurate. If you want to roast some potatoes or sweet potatoes, for example, go ahead. The problem really only starts when you eat those foods in its highly processed deep fried form like French fries or sweet potato fries. You can eat as much vegetables as you want, just don't think that vegetable chips are one and the same. They're not. They're deep fried in highly inflammatory, toxic vegetable and seed oils, and it causes nothing but bad things to the human body. The other reason why you want to eat single ingredient natural foods is that they're extremely filling. You're eating real food in its most natural and basic form. Vegetables, for example, naturally contain fiber. They're also naturally low in calories, so you can eat them in high volume. Again, we did not have an obesity epidemic in the 50s, 60s, or into the 70s. It was never a thing. Obesity rates were extremely low back then. It really only started when we started switching our diets to mainly processed foods. If you look at the diets of native tribes who still live a mostly hunter-gatherer lifestyle, they don't suffer from modern Western diseases like obesity, cancer, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. They also have perfect teeth. The moment they get exposed to processed foods is when the problem starts, because these highly processed frankenfoods have been stripped of all nutrients and they've been replaced with additives and preservatives and who knows what else. They're also designed to be highly palatable, which messes up your palate and sends your hormones into a roller coaster ride. Again, I'm not saying that you can never have processed foods again, but try out this strategy. And it works so well, I promise, because you don't have to diet. I want you to follow the 80-20 rule. So 80% of your diet should be single ingredient foods. I want you to eat them first because again, they're very effective at turning off hunger hormones and resetting your taste buds. And you can usually find these foods at the outer aisles of the grocery store. And more likely than not, after you eat a nice big plate of vegetables paired with your choice of protein, your desire to eat junk food will usually go away, which should be the remaining 20%, by the way. And even if you still crave it, you're gonna eat significantly less of it compared to if you had eaten it first. That's why the 80-20 ratio is so important. This is how you effectively can manage your calories and inadvertently stay on a calorie deficit without having to track them. Remember, our Paleolithic ancestors were naturally lean and strong. Their physiques rivals today's elite athletes. That's the default factory setting of the human body, and they didn't eat like ass. They never took protein powders. They discovered fire, they hunted animals, and they ate them. They definitely didn't have deep fried fast food. They didn't have skinny vanilla lattes. They never drank Diet Coke. They didn't have vegetable chips. They just had vegetables. Number 2, eat foods that turn off hunger hormones. Here's a fun fact for you. Your body doesn't count calories. It does, however, have a physiological response to whatever food you put in your mouth. And this physiological response is done through the activation of certain hormones, specifically satiety hormones. And when your satiety hormones are activated, that turns off your hunger hormones. What activates your satiety hormones, you ask? Well, there's a few. Vegetables, because of its fiber content, which then activates that stretch mechanism in your stomach, as well as protein, which activates peptide YY, and healthy sources of fat like meat, cheese, eggs, nuts, and avocado, because it also activates cholecystokinin. And again, you want to eat these foods in its most basic and unprocessed form. This just goes back to single ingredient foods. Vegetables, especially leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables, are extremely filling while being naturally low in carbs and calories. But again, who's counting? Again, there's always going to be a never-ending debate about which diet is best for weight loss. But almost all of them will virtually agree on this one thing, that you have to eat your vegetables. Ideally, half of your plate, or as much as 75%, should be loaded with them. And truth be told, I didn't start eating vegetables until into my early 20s. Instead, I ate a lot of processed food. I was also fat. When I started incorporating vegetables into my diet was also when I started losing weight. Go figure. And you can't use the excuse that you hate vegetables. There are so many varieties and options to choose from. Cauliflower, for example, has kind of become the new grain of vegetables. The only difference is that it has 800% fewer carbs than rice. To add to our 80-20 eating strategy, eat vegetables, eat a lot of them, and eat them first. Then eat the rest of your meal, which contain proteins and fats, because again, they're extremely filling and they slow down the rate at which your food travels through your digestive system, helping you feel fuller longer. That's why ice cream is better than eating Skittles, for example. They both contain tons of sugar, but ice cream gets the advantage because it also contains fat and protein, and it's delicious. And when your satiety hormones are activated and your body is well nourished, you won't have to spend all day thinking about food. You can go longer periods in between meals without feeling hungry. This is called metabolic flexibility. I want you to remember that term. But that's why I always say that weight loss, in its very essence, isn't about counting calories, it's about controlling hunger. This is why drinking diet soda or using artificial sweeteners to curb hunger is such a bad idea, because even though they both contain 0 calories, they don't turn off your hunger hormones. In fact, they usually make you hungrier because your brain gets confused. It tastes something sweet, but there's actually no food coming in, so your brain gets confused, so it sends even stronger hunger cues that you need to eat something. Same thing with eating Doritos or Twinkies. They're devoid of all nutrients. You eat that stuff and then your brain goes, that wasn't it. Those were empty calories. We need to eat more. This is why you're always hungry an hour or two later whenever you eat processed carbs or refined sugar. We simply did not evolve to eat or drink that stuff. Again, don't eat like an ass. Since we're on the topic of drinking, that's my next tip. Water should be your default drink of choice. No, water isn't gonna magically burn all your body fat. Instead, we're gonna use the concept of addition by subtraction here. I often don't make blanket statements like this, but sugary drinks are basically pure evil. They're just empty calories and they just do one thing to the human body. They make you fat and sick. There is absolutely 0 reason why you should be drinking that stuff unless you're a professional athlete. And even then, the merits of it are still very questionable. Like, it's not uncommon, for example, for endurance athletes to become diabetic even though they train for hours every day. If you're someone who regularly drinks this stuff and you drink water instead, you're gonna lose a ton of weight without dieting. Guaranteed. Also, after just a few days of not drinking them, your desire for other sweets will diminish drastically. Your only other drink options are tea and black coffee because we've also been drinking that stuff for thousands of years. Your body also responds to them very well physiologically. Also, unflavored carbonated water like seltzer or soda water are also okay. Number 4, do some form of resistance training. Lifting weights has many benefits and I've made tons of videos why it's non-negotiable if you want to lose weight and just be a healthy and happy human being. But the main benefits of it that I want to highlight if you want to lose weight without dieting is that it boosts testosterone and growth hormone to repair and build muscle. It also increases insulin sensitivity. Muscle is a very expensive tissue to build and maintain, which means that your body has to burn more calories even at rest just to hold on to them. That's why having a lot of lean muscle mass is the key driver of your metabolism. It's also a strong indicator of lifespan. It's so important during the aging process. The increased insulin sensitivity also helps with nutrient partition. Instead of glycogen being immediately stored as body fat, when you lift weights, you're giving your body the signal to store some of that glycogen in your muscle instead. Again, this is why this is non-negotiable if you want to be a healthy and happy human being. Number 5, I will keep mentioning this until the cows come home. take a break from eating. This is more commonly known as intermittent fasting. And I've mentioned physiology a couple of times already in this video, so let's continue with that theme. The human body is an amazing thing. It can survive for periods of time without food. Why? Because you have at least 100,000 calories worth of stored energy in the form of body fat waiting to be used. It's definitely not just there for looks. I've also made tons of videos about this eating phenomenon, so make sure you check those out if you're new. This honestly might be the most powerful way to lose weight without dieting, because intermittent fasting is not a diet, it's a lifestyle. And I mentioned metabolic flexibility earlier because that's the key to this. So if you're metabolically flexible, you're easily able to tap into your stored body fat and burn it for energy in between meals. All you're gonna do is extend that period in between meals when you're not eating to give your body more time to burn your body fat for energy. And no, you're not gonna die when you do this. Again, the human body is an amazing thing, and one of its main features is that it's designed to fast. Our Paleolithic ancestors sometimes would go days without food if they're not successful during a hunt, and they were fine. Like, unless you had 5% body fat, you have nothing to worry about here. Fun fact, did you know that the longest recorded fast was 382 days? Over a year. It was done by a guy named Angus Barbieri, and he lost a mind-blowing 276 pounds in the process. He lived off of water and multivitamins and regular visits to the doctor. And after 5 years from his initial transformation, he was still able to keep the weight off. Talk about long-term sustainable results. The biggest takeaway here is that it's not about eating less, but less frequently. Are you gonna get hungry when you do intermittent fasting? At the beginning, yes. But that's mostly because you've taught your body to eat at certain times. There's definitely gonna be an adaptation period, and those hunger pangs usually only last for about 20 minutes, then it goes away. Again, there's nothing exciting about these tips, especially with fasting. I'm telling you to do nothing. If you take a break from eating, you're gonna lose weight. It's really only a question of finding the best intermittent fasting schedule that fits your lifestyle and adherence. And that's the most important part of all of this, that if you wanna lose weight without dieting, it's pretty easy to just follow all the tips that I just laid out for you. It's not rocket science, but the execution is the hardest part because you're always gonna be bombarded with temptations along the way. And that's the last thing that I wanna address here. Listen, I love food just as much as the next guy. I've mentioned many times that I love carrot cake and cheesecake. There's still a fat kid inside of me, but I also know that I probably shouldn't eat it every day, even now at my maintenance weight. So I only eat it once every couple of weeks. What I'm trying to say here is that your entire life should not revolve around food. You're not a dog. Don't reward yourself with food. There are other exciting things in life. I think it was Oprah who said this, that you can have it all, just not all at once. Delayed gratification is the name of the game. You want to delay, but don't deny. The next question then becomes, how are you actually supposed to eat if you want to lose weight? Because here's the thing, 80% of your body composition is determined by your diet. You can't just freestyle this part. Do you have a proven plan that you can follow? To help you with that, I want to give you a free copy of my Lean Body Blueprint. This is how I melted all the fat around my stomach without depriving myself of my favorite foods or wasting hours at the gym. It's a simple 4-step process specifically designed for busy professionals, and it's the exact same blueprint that I teach to all my private coaching clients, and they've all gone to see some amazing results. If you want to be the next success story, then download your free copy of the Lean Body Blueprint right now. There's going to be a link somewhere at the top here or in the description box. Just click on it, type in your email, and I'll send it to you right away. All right, that's all I've got. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and share it with your friends. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I post a new video every week. And hey, leave a comment below if you have any questions about this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. First, a high five.